Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. Welcome to this lecture. Now, in the previous all classes, we discussed about the stresses, the transformation of stress, how useful they are, and what are different approaches to obtain the maximum minimum values of the normal stress, the maximum shear stress, and those things, right? So, and also we discussed two approaches. One, by using mathematical equations, how to get the values of the transformed values of normal stress, shear stress, and those things. And then how to get the value of, say, principal stresses using the Mohr circle, graphical as well as mathematical approach. So these are the two things we discussed before. Now, it's not complete until and unless we study the deformations and strains and then link it to the stress. So then there will be some completeness within the formulation, right? So in our understanding, the physics of the problem will be more clear if we could relate the stress with the strain and then to the displacement. So these are the things we need to do, right? So in the beginning, we discussed that there is a strain that we have to study because we are dealing in this course of solid mechanics, the deformable body. The deformable body means that, for example, if I consider a random body like this, so let's consider a small element on this. So I consider A, B, C, and D, and what happens after it deforms is that some other form it will take, and then this element which we were discussing here, so that will be A dash, B dash, C dash, and D dash. So what is our assumption here is that L length of AB is not equal to length of A dash, B dash. So that means the deformation has actually increased the length of the side of that element AB. And similarly, we can also say that the angle, let's say I consider this angle, that is angle ADC is not equal to angle A dash, D dash, C dash. So that means the body is deformable body. Deformation is there. So because of the deformation, we say that there will be stress and there will be strain. The strain actually has two components. One is the change in the length, another is change in the angle. So these are the strains we are actually dealing with. Now, for example, let's say I consider a small this length AB. Let's assume that initially it was L naught. Now what happens is that it deforms and becomes like L final, LF, right? So this is A dash, B dash. There is one component of strain which we call it as engineering strain. We call engineering strain. Engineering strain. So this is actually epsilon, that is along the length of this is equal to, I can say, what is the final length, what was the initial length divided by what was the initial length. So this is by and large the definition of the engineering strain has been. So why we call it as engineering strain? There are two things. One is the engineering strain, in which we consider the initial length of the element throughout while calculating the strain. And there is one more concept called the true strain, in which we call for every load interval what is the length at that particular interval, and then we calculate the strain. So we call it as a true strain. So in general purpose, we use the concept of engineering strain and engineering stress. There are true strain and true stress and engineering stress also, so that we can take up some time, right? So this engineering strain is roughly defined like this. So that means what is the elongation, the delta L divided by the initial length. So this is the definition of engineering strain. Now let's say I have some one line like this. Okay, so I call this as P and this is Q, and this has a coordinate of x comma y, and here I have x plus dx comma y plus dx. That means I have this, for example, let's construct this. This is dy and this is dx. Okay, now and this length I call it as ds. Okay. Now because of the deformation, what happens is that this p goes somewhere here and this q goes somewhere here. So I call this as p dash and this is q dash. Okay, and this distance from here to here in the x direction we call it as equal to u, and along y direction this is what we call it as v. The displacement along x direction and displacement along y direction are represented as u and v. That is, u is the displacement of point P along x direction, and v is the same along y direction. This is same along the y direction. Okay, so these are the, then P dash has a coordinate of, let's say, x dash comma y dash, and q dash is actually having x dash plus dx dash comma y dash plus dy dash. So these are the revised coordinates of p dash and q dash. I call this length as ds dash. Therefore, so this is my definition of dy dash and dx dash. Okay, now I can call that u, that is the displacement of a point P along the x direction. I can write that is equal to the final position of P, that is coordinate of P dash, that is x dash minus x. That is the coordinate, that is the displacement u. Similarly, I can say v is equal to y dash minus y. Okay, I can take this du from u, that is du is equal to dx dash minus dx, and dv is equal to dy dash minus dy. Okay, from dx dy I can say that ds square is equal to dx square plus dy square. So from here, this figure, and similarly ds dash is equal to dx dash square plus dy dash square. Okay, from here I can write that what is dx dash? Dx dash is equal to dx plus du, and dy dash is equal to dy plus dv. Okay, clear? Okay, all right. Now I can substitute for dx dash and dy dash from here into this to get ds, sorry, this is ds dash square. Ds dash square is equal to dx plus du square plus dy plus dv square, that is equal to dx square plus dy square plus 2 dx du plus 2 dv 2 dx 2 dy dv plus du square plus dv square. Okay, I can say now I can subtract ds dash square from ds square, that is equal to, if I subtract this with this expression, what I get, I can cancel out dx square and dy square from there. I get 2 dx du plus 2 dy dv plus du square plus dv square. Okay. Further, I can write du is equal to dou u by dou x dx plus dou u by dou y dy, and dv is equal to dou v by dou x dx plus dou v by dou y dy. Okay. Therefore, if I put these values of du and dv into this equation, I get ds dash square minus ds square will be equal to, I just have to put this, that is equal to 2 times dou u by dou x plus half dou u by dou x square plus dou v by dou x square into dx square plus 2 times dou v by dou y plus half into dou u by dou y square plus dou v by dou y square dy square plus 2 times dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x plus dou u by dou x dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x into dou v by dou y. So any question, how did we get this? Just we substituted for the values of du by dx, du and dv.
Sir,
Yeah.
so how have we written partial differential equation of du and dv, sir?
This one?
Yes, sir.
So this is the using the, so what is the problem in this? Partial derivative, can't we use this?
Means, sir, I didn't get it, sir.
This is actually writing du, right? I mean, you want to know how did we get this?
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay. This is from what we call it as the chain rule. This is from the chain rule, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sorry, sir. I got it, sir.
This is from the chain rule. This is a simple chain rule formula in partial differentiation. All right. From that we can write these two expressions for du and dv. Okay. Now we have written ds dash square minus ds square. There is one strain term we are interested in. That is what we call it as green strain. This is the equation developed by Green. So this is the extensional strain. We call this epsilon, according to this Green strain, is written as ds dash square minus ds square divided by 2 ds square. So instead of writing this kind of expression, we are writing using the Green strain. That is in terms of epsilon is equal to ds dash square minus this ds square divided by 2 ds square. For example, if I consider LF is related with ds dash and L naught is related to ds, I can write this expression as LF square minus L naught square divided by L naught square divided by 2 L naught square. So this is the expression we get. This is the strain expression we obtain. Okay. So we get the equation that is LF minus L naught divided by L naught. From this we have to see. So can we get this? So that we have to see. Let's say I am considering the general expression that is a green strain. Okay, let's say now what I do is I call this as equation A. Equation A. So in order to get the green strain, what I do is equation A divided by 2 ds square, 2 ds square. That will give me uh, 2 divided by ds square is already there. So I just have to write dou u by dou x plus half dou u by dou x square plus dou v by dou x square into dx by ds square, because there is a 2 ds square, 1 2 is already cancelled, plus 2 by 2 will go away. Then I have dou v by dou y plus half dou u by dou y square plus dou v by dou y square, that is dy square is there, that is now dy by ds square, plus I have dou u by dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x, dou u by dou x, dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x, dou v by dou y into dx by ds and dy by ds. So this is the expression we get. Okay, now I can write that dx by ds is equal to L. That is actually equal to cos angle between any normal, any axis n to x-axis, and dy by ds is equal to m. That is actually equal to cosine angle between any angle, any axis, any directional line with the y-axis. So by doing that, I can write that epsilon n along the direction n for any point P is equal to epsilon x L square. I call this as epsilon x. This is epsilon x. I call this as epsilon y, and I call this as gamma xy. This is called as gamma xy. Okay. Therefore, I can say epsilon x L square, plus epsilon y m square plus gamma xy lm. Okay. Okay, that's what we are doing here. Now, if I consider epsilon x is equal to, just write this equation, dou u by dou x plus half dou u by dou x square plus dou v by dou x square, this equation. Now, what are the terms we have? If you remember, this we have already derived, right? In the first lecture or in the second lecture itself, we have derived this expression. So these terms, these second terms, they are actually non-linear terms. Non-linear terms. I have taken in one plane. If you consider it in a 3D coordinate system, 3-dimensional system or Cartesian system XYZ, there will be one more, that is plus dou w by dou x square term also will be there. But we have not considered that because we have only considered XY plane, not the Z direction. So if you consider that, then there'll be an additional term also. So that's why, to avoid the complication of adding this, so we have not considered this, right? So this is the nonlinear term. Similarly, we have this first term is the linear one, and second is the nonlinear term. Similarly, I have epsilon y, that is dou v by dou y plus half dou v dou this is dou u by dou y square plus dou v by dou y square. So here also I have nonlinear, this is the linear term and this is the nonlinear term. Finally, I have gamma xy is equal to dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x. This is the linear term, plus I have dou u by dou x, dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x, dou v by dou y. So these are the nonlinear terms. So we call this expression equation P. Fine. Now, what is this expression? This is what we call it as a transformation of strain, right? Normal strain. We want to find out, for example, we know the strain in the x-axis. We know the strain in the y direction. I want to know what is in this direction n. And I want to know what is the direction along the s direction. So that I can write from this expression. That means we are actually, this is the angle we are looking at, right? Therefore, this equation is actually the transformation expression. So for any Lm, I can get the equation like this. Now let us come to the one equation which we just discussed. This is the green strain, right? So I'll write it back again. The green strain for a simple one-dimensional problem. So that means, let's say I have this problem. This is L0. We apply some load, and what happens is that this is the final length of the line. Then what I should do is that, let me write the strain, that is equal to LF square minus L0 square divided by 2 L0 square, that is equal to LF is actually equal to the initial length plus some deformation, delta L0. That is the extension, right? Delta L0 is the extension. I just write it as L0 plus delta L0 square minus L0 square divided by 2 times L0 square, that is equal to L0 square plus delta L0 square plus 2 times L0 delta L0 minus L0 square by 2 times L0 square. I can cancel out some of the terms here, L0 square will go away, and I can write this expression as this is equal to delta L0 divided by, I'm using this term first, delta L0 by 2 L0 delta L0 divided by 2 L0 square, that is delta L0 by L0 plus half into the other term. I can write it as delta L0 divided by L0 square. So this is actually a nonlinear equation. This is the nonlinear term, and this is the linear term. Now what will happen, for example, when should we consider this expression for strain, and when should we consider epsilon is equal to delta L0 by L0? Suppose I assume that if delta L0 is small, we expect a very small displacement or deformation. Then what happens to delta L0 square? Then what happens to delta L0 square is negligible. Therefore, I can consider epsilon is equal to delta L0 by L0. That is what we call it as engineering strain. From the nonlinear strain, the green strain, if you ignore the small displacements, if you consider that the displacements are small, that means the problem is linear, right? So then we can ignore, even in this case also, if you assume that uv are small, then del u by del x square and del v by del x square, these are the nonlinear terms which are negligible. So even if you ignore them, then you will not lose in terms of any accuracy. Therefore, you can easily predict what is the stress strain behavior or the strain in the system by considering only the linear strain for small displacements. So for small displacements, what happens now? Epsilon x is equal to the linear strain, dou u by dou x, epsilon y is equal to dou v by dou y, and gamma xy is equal to dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x. So these are the strains we are looking at. Now, moving further, we want to write for tensorial representation. So now for tensor representation, we write that epsilon ij is equal to 1 by 2 del ui by del xj plus del uj by del xi. Here I and j can be equal to 1 and 2. Here u1 is equal to u, u2 is equal to v, x1 is equal to x, and x2 is equal to y. So these are our definition. So if I consider, for example, epsilon 1 2, which is equal to epsilon 2 1 also, that is 1 by 2 divided by dou u by dou x, dou u by j is 2, dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x. This is my epsilon 1 2 or epsilon 2 1, epsilon 1 2 or epsilon 2 1. Right, this is, I can call it as epsilon xy. Right, one is x and two is y. Therefore, how it is different from gamma xy? Epsilon xy is equal to gamma xy divided by 2. Right, so this is the tensorial representation. Now I can write the strain tensor as epsilon xx, epsilon xy, epsilon xz, epsilon xy or yx, both are same, epsilon yy, epsilon yz, epsilon xz, epsilon yz, and epsilon zz. This is in fact equal to something like this. I can say epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z, the normal strains, and the shear strains are actually gamma xy by 2, gamma xz by 2, gamma yz by 2, gamma xz by 2, gamma yz by 2. So everywhere, wherever I get compared to the stress tensor, the strain tensor are different only in the terms of the shear strain. You have to consider it in a different way. So now I am sure you are familiar with what is different in case of the stress vector and the strain vector. So in place of tau xy, you write gamma xy by 2, right? It is actually, I'm not saying they are equal, but the replacement is just divided by half because of the tensorial representation we are making here. Okay, so but the problem remains same. Only thing is the tensorial shear strain gamma xy is epsilon xy is actually gamma xy by 2, nothing else. But the equation for gamma xy doesn't change. Some places we have to be careful, so we have to be interested in seeing that. Let us discuss. So there was some question. Are there any question?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, how did we define our tensor that shear strain is gamma xy?
So this is by definition we have already derived this, right? Gamma xy. This is the gamma xy we have already derived. But the tensorially you want to write it using the index notation that it will be like this. Right?
Sir, earlier we derived that expression of shear strain.
Yeah, this is the same expression.
Sir, earlier we wrote gamma xy as dou u by dou x plus dou u by dou y.
No, no. It was dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x. Please
Oh, yes, sir, yes.
refer back to that and
Yes,
correct me
sir.
if I had written like that.
How does this half factor come there?
Half is coming because we want to write it in this way so that all ij can be considered. Right? When I is equal to j, then what will happen here? If I is equal to j, then I can say epsilon 1 1, for example, epsilon 1 1 or epsilon x is equal to what? Half into dou u by dou x plus dou u by dou x, that is equal to dou u by dou x.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's why we are writing when I is equal to j, this is dou u by dou x, dou u by dou y, dou v by dou y or dou w by dou z. But when it is I is not equal to j, then it is actually giving gamma xy by 2. That is a tensorial.
Sir, so just for our mathematically to ease our computation, we write it like that.
May not be true. Let me come to another point now. Not just because of that. So let us see where we change this. Where do we really worried about this? So it's an interesting thing to know. Right. So yeah, you are right. So this is a very valid question. So everybody has this question. So what are the changes we expect because of this and all? Let us understand that also. So then you will be very clear what we are trying to say.
And
I
sir,
will.
there's
Yeah. Sorry.
sir, this green strain we define it. I mean, there is no physical significance of green strain. I mean, this
Physical
is only.
significance, yes. Non-linear terms actually, when you consider non-linear terms, so they are only useful when you have larger displacements. Otherwise, physically, it's difficult to explain what is dou u by dou x square also, right?
Okay, sir.
But these nonlinear terms are actually there mathematically when you are representing. So the first term is actually the deformation gradient, right? Du by dx is the displacement gradient. That is actually
Yes.
very clear. But the second term is very kind of
Okay.
non-intuitive because of the. It's not possible to physically explain what do you mean by this non. But it only helps when you have higher. That means the larger values of the displacement. Displacements are bigger, then you have. So then
Okay,
only
sir.
it will help. Okay, I'll move ahead and I will answer to that question where this half and what will happen in future.
Okay, sir.
Now I will answer that question as well now. So let me consider this is the x direction, y direction. I have one particular element like this. Now this is for with respect to the direction x dash and y dash. I am not writing capital X, small capital Y, just to avoid the confusion. Theta. This is the angle theta. Now what happens is because of deformation, it will go somewhere like this and then have a deformed shape. Deformed shape. So it obviously will have some deformation. This is actually we call it as since this is along x dash direction, we call it as u dash, and this is along y dash direction, we call it as v dash. V dash. Okay, now let us say the transformation how it looks here on ground. in the in-plane system, right? So this is what we call it as plane strain system as well. So now the transformation between x dash to x is what? X dash y dash to xy. I can write x dash is equal to x cos theta, the transformation, plus y sin theta, and y dash is equal to minus x sin theta plus y cos theta. Or I can also say that on the other hand also I can say that, for example, what will be x? X is equal to x dash cos theta minus y dash sin theta, and y is equal to x dash sin theta plus y dash cos theta. Now how the u and u dash are connected? U dash is equal to u cos theta. I extend the same kind of equation here, plus v sin theta, and v dash is equal to minus u sin theta plus v cos theta. So this is the transformation I hope you are familiar with. Now let's say I want to write what is epsilon x dash, the normal strain along the x dash direction on a plane which is normal to x dash direction. That is dou u dash by dou x dash, epsilon y dash is equal to dou v dash divided by dou y dash, and gamma x dash y dash is equal to dou u dash dou y dash plus dou v dash by dou x dash. All right. Now again I use the chain rule for this partial derivatives. I write dou u by dou x dash is equal to dou u by dou x by dou x by dou x dash plus dou u dash by dou y into dou y by dou x dash. Similarly, for dou v dash by dou y dash, I write it as dou v dash by dou x by dou x dash plus dou v dash by dou y plus dou y by dou y dash. Okay, now we substitute for this dou u dash by dou x from this expression, and also we consider dou x by dou x dash from these expressions. Okay, so I can substitute here. I can write that epsilon x dash is equal to dou u dash by dou x. This is the expression dou u dash by dou x into dou x by dou x dash plus dou u dash by dou y by dou x dash. Similarly, epsilon y dash is equal to, I can also extend the same kind of expressions. Dou v dash by okay, I just decided to change, right? So this can't be true. This has to be y dash, dou x by dou y dash. Then only this will work. Correct? It is correct. I just changed here. The chain rule has to be correct. Then dou v dash by dou x by dou y dash plus dou v dash by dou y plus dou y by dou y dash. Similarly, gamma x dash y dash is actually equal to dou v dash dou x by dou x dash plus dou v dash dou y by dou x dash plus dou u dash. Yeah.
Sir, there should not be second. Sir,
Sorry?
there should not be second plus sign in epsilon y dash.
This one? Oh yeah, you are
No, sir,
right.
second.
Sorry, yeah, this is correct. This should not be. Yeah.
That is multiplication.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You are right. Dou u dash by dou y and dou y by dou y dash. Okay, so these are the expressions. Now, what I can say now is that, for example, if I look at this expression, what is dou u dash by dou x here? I can consider dou u dash by, from this expression I can write what is dou u dash by dou x equal to? Is it equal to dou u by dou x cos theta plus dou v by dou x sin theta? Am I correct? Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And similarly, I can also use this expression to write what is dou x by dou x dash equal to. What is that equal to? Cos theta. I'll just write that expression now, that epsilon x dash is equal to dou u by dou x cos theta plus dou v by dou x sin theta. Cos theta I'm writing here because that is there. Then plus this term I'm writing plus dou u. Similarly, I can also get the derivatives dou u by dou y cos theta plus dou v by dou y sin theta into sin theta. This is the expression. Okay, therefore I get dou u by dou x. I'm only writing for dou epsilon x bar x dash. Dou u by dou x cos square theta plus dou v by dou y, this one, sin square theta, plus now I have dou v by dou x sin theta cos theta sin theta. So I'm writing dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x cos theta sin theta. This I can simplify by considering the trigonometric relation. Epsilon x dash is now equal to epsilon x plus epsilon y by 2 plus epsilon x minus epsilon y by 2 into cos 2 theta plus gamma xy. Cos theta sin theta is sin 2 theta by 2, so gamma xy by 2 into sin 2 theta. So this is the expression we get. So epsilon x bar x dash, when I compare to sigma x is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta plus tau xy sin 2 theta. The expressions are same, only difference lies here, right? So instead of writing tau xy sin 2 theta, we are writing gamma xy by 2 into sin theta. That means everywhere I have to replace the shear stress terms, tau xy term, with the gamma xy shear gamma xy term, and I can substitute sigma x sigma y directly with epsilon x and epsilon y in this expression. I'm comparing the stress transformation rule to the strain transformation rule. Okay, so that means this is what we call it as a tensorial representation of the shear strain. Instead of writing tau xy was the tensorial component of stress there, here it will be gamma xy by 2. Therefore, we wrote epsilon 1 2 or epsilon xy is equal to, this is the way we write, right? So this actually, the change gamma xy by 2 is actually carried here also. So in any expression for transformation, or when you want to write down the principal stresses, or you want to draw the Mohr circle, you actually deal with gamma xy by 2 or gamma xz by 2 or gamma yz by 2 in the three-dimensional system. So that is what our comparison between the stress transformation as well as the strain transformation rule goes. Right, so similarly, I can also write epsilon y dash, that is equal to epsilon x plus epsilon y by 2. Just change theta to theta plus pi by 2 plus, sorry, this becomes minus epsilon x minus epsilon y by 2 cos 2 theta minus gamma xy by 2 sin 2 theta, and the equation for gamma x dash y dash, gamma x dash y dash, what is this equal to now? This is equal to minus of epsilon x minus epsilon y by 2 into sin 2 theta plus gamma xy by 2 into cos 2 theta. So this is the expression for the shear strain. And now the equation for the principal direction, that is tan 2 theta p, goes as minus of, sorry, there is no minus here. It is gamma xy divided by epsilon x minus epsilon y, instead of saying 2 tau xy by sigma x minus sigma y. So here also we say that this is the direction of principal direction. This is the principal direction. So what is the definition of principal direction in with respect to the strains is this: there is no shear strain on the principal plane. Principal plane doesn't have any shear strain. Similarly, I can adopt the same kind of expression. I can extend and write that epsilon 1 comma 2, these are the principal strains, are equal to epsilon x plus epsilon y by 2 plus minus square root of epsilon x minus epsilon y by 2 square plus gamma xy by 2 square. So this is the expression we are looking at for the principal strains. So you can also derive it using by considering epsilon x, the derivative of that with respect to theta is equal to 0, and then finding out the angle theta p can also be done. Otherwise, you just write the same expression by considering you consider this kind of expression. So this is what you can also write. So is there any issue with this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No.
So one thing you did
Okay.
not mention is that this actually has to be gamma x dash y dash by 2. Am I correct? Or sorry, yeah. Wait. This is not true. This expression actually looks like this: gamma x dash y dash is equal to minus of 2 times epsilon x minus epsilon y sine 2 theta. No, sorry, it's just sine 2 theta. Uh, Sine 2 theta, and then plus gamma xy cos 2 theta. This is the correct expression. This is the correct expression. Yeah. Then how do you convert this to the previous kind of that expression?
Divide both sides by 2.
Yeah.
Dividing both sides by 2.
Dividing both sides by 2. Yeah, all right. Then what happens to this expression now? What is the correct expression for strain transformation then? Am I correct? Compare these two. That is what is the question.
The second one would be correct, right?
So second one is
Second one is correct.
Second one is correct, right? Yeah.
First one is wrong.
Yeah. This is the correct expression. Then there should be by 2 here as well.
Yes, sir.
You are calculating gamma x dash y dash by 2, not exactly gamma x dash y dash. All right. So this is about the transformation of strain, the definition of strain with respect and the strain displacement relation. So we have written here. Now we can also extend other discussions like for 3-dimensional or the general state of strain, how to get the principal strain, how to get the Mohr circle, how to get the maximum strain. All those details can also be worked out for the strain case also. So that we shall take up in our next lectures.